I hear you.
Hage needs a 2-putt bogey to win here on number 72 at the Rusty Putter in St. John. Ooh. He zips that one past the hole, and with that tap in, another 3-putt puts Hage and Perri score through 72.
Look at this.
All right.
Live, the Rusty Putter, the annex, I guess, or the other side of the Rusty Putter, where we've now taken up a new home. Adam got a little shorter, got some glasses here, but we have Larry Rossi with us today.
Morning.
Larry, you're the proprietor. The owner, the president. What's your actual title there at Area Wide? The everything guy?
I am the everything guy. Believe me. I've been running Area Wide for since 2015 and just before. So I guess I'm the owner. I'm the owner. But I'm out there doing all of it. I give the bids. I do the jobs. I make sure things go right. You know how it is. It's every day, all day.
You wear all of the hats.
Right on.
Which, as my hairline continues to recede, I understand that hats are very important to wear. But I think one of the interesting parts, and we'll dive into how we know each other, how long we've known each other. But I think one of the most important parts that we want to drive home is your company provides an unbelievable service to the southwest suburbs, northwest Indiana, your coverage area, with waterproofing, basement, foundation stuff. But I also want to stress that your company, it's kind of like how we run our mortgage operation at Novus, very similar to how Adam runs his insurance operation here at the Hage Insurance Agency too. It's as family oriented as it gets.
Yeah, it's awesome. We are family owned and operated. My son is in the field today. If you were to call into my office, my daughter or my niece would answer the phone. What comes from that is, as you know, awesome trust factor with the people that are running the corporation, right? Which is important. And we're all on the same page because we've been on that page for my daughter's 35. We've been on that page forever. So you get a good product from us. You get an honest answer.
Everyone has a little bit of ownership in it. And I think that's what goes on, where some of your competitors, we probably don't need to name them specifically, but most people would know who they are. They're a soulless corporation.
Absolutely.
Right? Like it's a sales guy selling you a product that you, and a lot of times we're going to go through this, you may or may not actually need. And that sales guy is not, his son's not the one actually doing the work or managing that stuff. It's, they bring a crew in and no one really gives 2 squirts of piss about the actual product itself at the end of the day. Whereas your company, your son Danny screws up, Katie's probably hearing about it on the phone on social media, and then you're hearing about it. Like,
oh, they don't let it come to me
because you
shelter themselves.
They'll be getting the wrath of Larry on that.
If it gets to me, I am giving the product away. It can't get to me because the customer is always right. You said a couple of things there, and you're absolutely right. Our competition as salespeople, and we have estimators. We don't use the S word in our shop. We do not sell. All we do is help people. And when we get a phone call, it's somebody in trouble. They're standing in a puddle of water, and we're going to go fix that for them. To me, we're not salespeople at all. We are helping people fix their problems. They don't call us unless they have a problem.
And I think our geographical area is very, very unique. It probably poses a very, interesting burden on your estimators because we have homes that are 2 years old with basements. We have homes that are 185 years old with basements. Yeah, and then you have all of the in-betweens and like every version of construction, right? So you guys are dealing with stacked limestone
in them,
cinder block
on them,
concrete
every day.
Is there any other types of foundation or basements that I don't know about?
I was in Steger where the foundation was built out of railroad ties. That one we couldn't fix, and that should be illegal. I'm pretty sure that is illegal. But we're
we got some pre-assault logs.
I don't even know how that. Anyway,
That might be an EPA issue.
I don't know either. And I've seen a lot of it, and so you're right. And there's a remedy for all of those. And I absolutely have to say that, the competition smells blood in the water when you're not a concrete, newer home, because they feel that you're uneducated. You're not going to know how to fix your problem. And it is a little different, but, we're super honest about that.
All right, so let's dive in. We'll talk a little bit. I think you've actually known me for probably since I was maybe 4 or 5 days old at this point.
I've known you since then and knew of you probably 9 months before that. Absolutely. I mean, I've been a friend of your dad since he had a ponytail.
We'll have to get a picture of that one.
Yes, we will.
We know he's had a mustache there too.
Yeah.
So I know, Larry, you spent time in the real estate world, Realtor.com, iPix, all of that stuff. You spent time in the mortgage world. You were at one point, you were my branch manager a long time ago. And then you've expanded into basement waterproofing and all of that stuff. And I think the interesting part as we dive into your 12-point inspection process and how you guys do things, you can clearly tell that your company looked at it and goes, well, we know that there's a problem with basements in this area because we just talked about we have homes that are 200 years old. We have homes that are 2 years old. We have heavy freeze thaw cycles. We're seeing unprecedented concentrated rain events lately too. Yeah, and so when Katie sent me over your 12-point inspection, I was like, you can tell this is exactly a guy that has worked in the real estate industry, has worked in the mortgage industry, likely has some family that are appraisers and mortgage people as well, because this inspection looks, eerily suspicious or eerily conspicuous to an appraisal situation too. So you guys, we talked about you have you have estimators. You don't have salespeople.
Correct. I've got 2 estimators that work for us. My son goes out on estimates when we're busy. Like yesterday, for example, our phone rang off the hook.
Oh, what, did we get a lot of rain yesterday or something?
Got a boatload.
2 inches?
Yeah, and all day too. And that's a soaking rain. It's heavy soaking rain. That creates a lot of problems. And occasionally we get a call back. I mean, that happens. I mean, you can't see through walls. And we didn't get a lot of those yesterday, so that was awesome. But yes, I have a background in real estate, which gives me an understanding of the real estate process, which sets our company apart. We work a lot with home buyers, and home sellers in that scenario. And I liken it to, anybody watching this that's a carpenter or a painter. My guess is you're not painting your house until you're moving out. You're not fixing your crack in your basement that you've lived with until you're leaving because you have to. And so we understand that, and we make it seamless for you to get through that real estate transaction.
So I pulled off part of your checklist here. So you guys, inside inspection, you guys are going through, do we see any foundation cracks? Is there any damp or wet walls, damp or wet floors, mold or mildew, and a sump pump?
Right on. We're looking for those things. And that's all available on our website at areawidewaterproofing.com. You can pull down our inspection and do it yourself. That's why I put it there. I'm guilty of saying you can do this. I'm that kind of guy. So yeah, we're gonna come in your house and do an inspection. We're gonna look for foundation cracks, and they're common places where they happen. They happen off windows. They happen in every corner, which coincidentally has a downspout. I'm never going out of business. They all crack.
The way the rain's going, I think between that, the fact that the only things that I think are undefeated in life: death, taxes, the United States in World War I and World War II, and water. And we'll talk about water getting to wherever it wants to get to. So I think this 12-point inspection, we've had a couple of our agents on here. We've had Tony Minadero on here. We've had Nick Osting on here. A couple other agents as well too. We've always talked about preparing your house to be sold and not being reactive, being proactive in this. If you think you're going to be listing your house for sale, go to your website, which is
areawidewaterproofing.com,
and pull up this checklist, this 12-point checklist, and just walk through your basement or crawl into your crawl space and look, do I have these? Is there something that might look alarming to somebody? Because I think you would agree with this. Whenever everyone says the word foundation crack or leaky basement.
Yeah.
All of a sudden there's this unbelievable panic.
Kills deals. Listen, I was in an inspection yesterday and it rained all day in a house that the real estate agent lost a contract on because of the foundation. And when I went to inspect it yesterday, there was maybe 5 or 6 cracks in the foundation. Cracks. A house is never falling over. They get fixed with a lifetime warranty. You don't need to walk away from a crack. There's things you maybe need to walk away from, but not a crack in a foundation. And by the way, there's nothing you need to walk away from. Your house could be falling over. We fix that, so there's nothing. I'll get to that in a second.
Can you help me when I'm falling over, leaving the
You can lean on me, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, let me finish that story there. So when I'm in the inspection, the deal falls apart because of the house foundation cracks. They have a new buyer come in. We're walking through the house after yesterday, not one drip of water in the entire house. 2 foundation cracks they had repaired. 3 they did not have repaired because they weren't leaking. That might be the type of advice I give. As a matter of fact, I took a picture of those and I'll be giving my report. They'll be catching photos. They'll be catching what I saw there, which was 2 already repaired cracks that were functioning perfect, 3 cracks that were in the foundation that were not leaking. And that's what I'm going to be telling the underwriter. And that deal is going to go through because I'm a common sense dude. Because I was somebody else, maybe a salesman, I might sell you on this house is falling over and you got to fix it. And that doesn't scare the guy into buying. That scares the guy into leaving. So who you having out? And what are they saying? What seed are they planting? It's already a home inspection. It's already bad enough. I mean, those guys are on everything. You catch a home inspection and report every day,
Yeah. And so I think let's talk on the outside part of it, right? So you guys are looking for improper yard drainage. Do you have downspout extensions, which I think I've learned a lot about those in my life, is a foundation setting or settling. You got some weird type of pitching or improper grading. We see that a lot around here. I think you and your friends go out there and do some landscaping. Or you and your buddies are going to pour a little concrete patio, and then you guys aren't, some people don't think about things. And next thing you know, you have a hard, relatively non-porous surface catching all the water and bringing it back to the house. Yeah,
right. That's all
it's magnetic, right? Foundation soil, the grade's too high, and then where's your sump pump discharge? Like, is your sump pump discharging into a feedback loop? Is it coming back into the house, right?
And that happens. And when your house was built, 30 years ago, which is only 1995, right? 30 years ago, your house was built and they extended the downspouts way and the sump pump discharge line underground. How long do you think that's lasting? I mean, 30 years. So we jet those out or we replace them all the time. I tell everybody, every crack in your basement is about water. It's from settling of a foundation. It's because your downspouts dump right on your home and aren't extended. Or what everybody misses is your gutters. When your gutters are filled with, if you can look up at your house and see what looks like a tree growing out of your gutter, you need to clean those. Otherwise, the water just runs over the top and right down your foundation and right into your cinder block or limestone home for sure. And then that poured concrete home eventually is going to develop a crack. So your first line of defense is your gutter system, and it comes with the house. But you got to make sure it works.
Those are why gutters were designed.
Absolutely.
So catch the water, and let's move it as far away from the house as possible.
Right on. We are 15 feet. We like it 15 feet away.
Okay.
We like it underground so you don't hit it with your lawnmower. Your dog trips over it. There might be a kid in the neighborhood that just kicks those things off because that's what kids do. So we bury them underground. That's what should be done.
All right. So getting the water away from the house, obviously, is one of the easiest preventative measures, right? But let's talk about, so the competition comes out there and they're looking at that they're looking at that deal, right? Because it's a salesperson who's an advisor and they're going, well, we know what the cause of this is, but we're probably not going to send someone out here just to, maybe dig out some downspout extensions and all that stuff. We need to sell a real job.
Absolutely, man.
Your group doesn't believe in that.
No,
you guys are like, we're gonna do the preventative maintenance because that's going to stop any other problems.
Correct, Olaf.
Occasionally, you can run into something weird that maybe can't be resolved, but we know that the cause of 98% of the foundation issue is water and freeze thaw cycle, right? Like,
absolutely, totally. Absolutely.
So, how do we get the water as far away from the concrete, the limestone, any type of porous material? Well, if we have all this rain collecting on a roof, we got to get it out, right?
Absolutely. I mean, the first thing we look at, and it's on our inspection report, is the gutters. I mean, it all starts there. And if I were to come to your home and you had a crack in your home, right, and it was leaking water, I'd be addressing that crack. I'd be going outside to see why it's catching water. As a matter of fact, you can get a bid from us online to make that repair, which is so easy. But I'd want a picture of outside. Why is there water near that crack? What's up with that?
Yeah, I mean, your house is not built over an underground stream or a geyser. Like,
I've only seen it twice.
You have,
dude. There's such a thing as an artesian well.
All right.
And I saw one, and it was in someone's yard, and the water was coming out of the ground like Jed Clampett shot something, and up come the bubbling water. Except this had a mound 6 foot high of gravel, and it was coming out the top of the gravel. Artesian well. That
really?
caught a well, and then they pumped it to a lake that they made.
All right. So
I'll give you another one, man.
All right, let's hear it.
I got a video of this on our website too. This is so awesome. Went into this guy's basement in Utica to the sinkhole that took out half of his basement. So he went down the stairs in the basement, got to the basement, almost, because there was another 6 foot down below the floor. Sinkhole. That happens because of a little bit more than water damage. That's about what you buy and where you buy. So here's the awesome part. The people bought it on a 203K. They had a plan to fix it, and then we executed that plan. So they paid it all within the purchase of their home. I mean, they bought a home that no one would buy. The structural engineer came up with a way to fix it, employed us to fix it. They got a loan for all of it when they bought their home. It was really a beautiful deal and pretty creepy. I got an awesome video of it.
Perfect proof that you guys have pretty much seen everything that you could possibly see in our geographical footprint here.
Yeah, and that's.
But you don't panic. You don't panic when you see it. You've executed it, right?
Been trained.
You've been trained, and then you work with the structural engineer in extreme cases.
Yeah.
Right. They lay out the plan, and your group executes the plan, and then the mortgage company's happy because we have a structural engineer that drew up the idea. How this house is going to be supported, how this sinkhole is going to be resolved. Right. Seller's happy. They got out of a transaction that a lot of people would probably run away from.
Absolutely. Probably thinking, give the keys to the bank and go hide, I would think. I mean, a good real estate agent put that deal together and was thinking that day,
Yeah, like it wasn't like, hey, let's hide this and hope no one finds it. It's hey, this is going to require this. So let's get a structural engineer. Let's be proactive, not reactive into this transaction.
Right on. And you mentioned that earlier. If you own a home and you have a crack in your foundation, it leaks, it's coming up with a home inspection report and might drive a buyer away when you could have us out ahead of time and tape to the wall our lifetime warranty. And the home inspectors would be like, hey, these dudes are on top of it. Not they're trying to hide something. You know how many times I see a painted wall with some product from Home Depot that promises to block water? That doesn't exist. There's nothing that you're painting on your wall ever that's fixing the spray stuff that you make a boat out of. That ain't doing it. None of it's doing it.
We're going to do some Flex Seal.
Right, absolutely. I see a can of Flex Seal almost at every bid I give.
So let's do, as we talk through the actual real estate transaction process, right? So we have a home inspection. Home inspector may or may not raise an issue. My most frustrating part of my job is when we get Joe, Sally, real estate agent that has been doing it for forever, and they've never heard of a lender that wouldn't do a conventional loan with standing water in the basement, or oh, dampness. My normal lender of 82 years doesn't care about that. Like, and it's like, here, this is what's interesting about your checklist, right? This is directly from Fannie Mae's guidelines.
You got it, bro. I
So-
didn't just make that up.
The appraisal indicates evidence of dampness or abnormal settlement. The lender must provide satisfactory evidence that the condition was corrected or submit a professionally prepared report indicating that the condition does not pose any threat to structural damage to the improvements. The appraiser should mark this subject to an inspection by a qualified professional.
We're in that scenario 3 times a day. I mean,
And we run into this all the time because it's just, we live in an area that, again, has lots of different construction styles, heavy freeze thaw cycle, a lot of development, which kind of prevents the natural absorption of water into the ground.
I'll give you an awesome example. I grew up on a farm. Underneath the soil in our farm fields, like 15 feet down, is drain tile to move water as it soaks through the earth. Well, when you dig a hole in the ground to build a house in a farm field, someone's getting the drain tile. And they don't know. They just dig a hole, put a box in the ground, build a house, and the water just comes to your house. That happens. That's happening to somebody in that field, at least somebody. What about a golf course? That switches to a subdivision. How much drain tile you think is in there moving water around? That's going to be next. You just don't even know. So I think that you're onto a few things there. It's not, it's not your dad, coming through your house to do the home inspection for you, because you're not going to your dad's buddy's bank to get your loan anymore. You're going to a major lender, and it's their asset that they're protecting. And it no longer matters what your dad thinks in the relationship with his bank. That's gone 40 years ago. Yet I'll be in someone's house and they got their dad and their brother doing the home inspection. I'll give you an example. One in Mantino, they had no home inspection because they bought the house from their friend, the flipper.
Oh,
Here's how they found out that their walls were bowing, because it knocked the tile off the wall in the bathroom. So then they opened it up to find out $80,000 we had to do to fix every wall in their basement.
we'll dive into a couple of your other products here. Let's get through the water and the dampness. So this is actually a snippet from an appraisal on a conforming loan, right? And this is the same thing you'd see on an FHA, VA, or a USDA loan too. In the appraisal, there is a section, foundation, right? So the appraiser is going to mark slab, full basement, crawl space, partial basement. Is there a sump pump? And then is there evidence of infestation, which that's not something that you guys necessarily deal with, but dampness or settlement. This is not like some surprise thing. Oh, look, we got through the home inspection. That's fine. Oh, now we're on to the appraisal. I can promise you that any major mortgage company that's delivering loans to Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA, VA, USDA.
That's everybody.
Right? That's 92% of the marketplace. All right. These agencies are now, and investors and aggregators are now reviewing the pictures on appraisals and going, hey, that basement looks like it's got some dampness or some settlement or some seepage. Like, that needs to be addressed. And the appraiser might just, they may have just mailed it in that day, took a picture, didn't think of anything, marked the appraisal as is, file goes back to the underwriter, and the underwriter goes, well, hey, there's evidence of this, recheck this box, and then it starts the cycle. I think that proactivity is incredibly important in this case.
Absolutely.
We can't stress that enough. But that's enough about, we've talked about the water in the basement. You brought up an interesting one here, and look at that. We got a picture of some of the work that you.
Oh, awesome.
So another piece of the puzzle, I think where do you guys normally see wall bowing the most? Is it cinder blocks?
It's cinder block, and here's what happens. It's going to happen. It's about time. When you have a cinder block foundation, your driveway is next to your house. That's putting pressure, shear pressure on the cinder block. So when you have a few blocks sticking out of the ground, the rest is underground, there's pressure there, and that wall is going to bow right there. And if we get ahead of it, we can fix it relatively, I don't want to say cheap, but inexpensive. It's an inexpensive fix for a major problem that's going to come up. bowing walls, and they can be locked in place. We use carbon fiber straps for that because they're that 1/8 inch thick, and you can paint right over them. It's not a steel beam, although sometimes it is a steel beam because it's bowed too far. So it's important to get on top of that, and it's going to, like we mentioned, it's going to come up in your home inspection. It's going to come up when the appraiser comes through. So you may as well be aware of it and understand that you're going to be, talking about that.
And I think, again, the proactivity, right? If I'm selling a house, I don't want the buyer to wonder.
At the very least, you want something from a company like mine, so everybody knows what it costs to fix it, because that's what's going to come up. And that the larger companies that have some billboards to pay for on 294 might charge a little bit more when they come out and know this deal has to close or the seller doesn't sell. Well, every salesman is going to take advantage of that. Get in front of it before it becomes a take advantage opportunity.
Yeah, a high pressure, high leverage situation, or a lot of sheer pressure, if you will.
Nicely put.
I like that
Right.
one. So carbon fiber straps, you said they're what? How thick are they?
1/8 of an inch, and they're as strong as a steel beam, but they can only be used in certain situations. And if you have a bow in your wall that's extreme, well, then you're actually going to catch a steel beam or something different.
I think I did see a long time ago on a transaction with a very severely bowed cinder block wall where they put like not a hydraulic, almost like not a jack, but maybe like a shock.
Yeah.
And so they bolted some plates in there too. So that's probably a super severe thing. But I think if you get ahead of it, right, if it starts and you notice it, carbon fiber straps probably don't allow it to get that severe.
Absolutely. It holds it in place. So, when your basement walls bow, what that causes is, well, besides the wall bowing, and it causes destruction upstairs. I mean, your drywall cracks, your windows kind of shift. So once that foundation is locked in place, once the bowing's been stopped, then the carpentry can take place upstairs and not have to be done every 3 years.
Hey, why does this door always open by itself?
Right.
Why won't this window close?
Correct. And it's always about the foundation. I mean, it's always about the foundation. So super important to get in front of that. And product that you mentioned is called wall anchors. And it's like, in layman terms, it's a big steel plate, but it's way more than that you see inside your basement. And then in your yard, 15 feet out under the ground is another giant plate. And we just kind of tighten it together to pull that wall back into place. If we excavate outside that wall, we can put it in place that day. Or we give you a maintenance contract. We come out every 6 months to tighten it up, to pull it slowly back out into place.
It's like braces for your wall.
Absolutely.
You don't got to go to the orthodontist, though.
Don't even get me on the wall braces. Right.
I love it. So that bowing wall is not something that makes you guys nervous at all. It's something you're routinely addressing.
Absolutely. We're doing one of those a week in some fashion, whether it's a carbon fiber strap, a wall anchor, or a power brace. We're fixing those, and we're not afraid of that repair. As a matter of fact, we're certified to make those type of repairs. My crew is, we're all in.
And so if again, you have a buyer coming into your house looking to buy the house, they see that the work's already done. There's lifetime warranty, potentially a maintenance contract, right? Then that deal's under contract. The appraiser comes out and goes, well, hey, this thing's bowing. And they go, well, hey, here's the maintenance contract. Here's all the proof of the work that's done. This is a no longer issue. The appraiser then completes the report as is, and we move along with the transaction. There's not all of this huge rush and hoopla, right? Because again, you end up on the heels. You don't end up in a position of strength in there, and it just turns into the slide. And then it's, you call the huge company with the billboards and the sales guy, and it's probably double the cost because they just know that they have you over the barrel.
Absolutely. And you put yourself, like I mentioned earlier, the home inspection I was in yesterday, the cracks that were not repaired are why the buyers didn't buy. And they didn't even need to be repaired. Hear what I just said. Didn't even need to repair, but they weren't repaired. So the buyer walked. That's weak, everybody. I'm not going to name everybody, but everybody in the transition was not strong enough to pull that together. and have me out to give a report. It's all going to change. They're selling that house. I was with the buyer yesterday. They're buying because I told them exactly what was up.
So we've talked about, downspout extensions. We talked about bowling walls. We've kind of casually talked about sump pumps. I think one of the interesting ones, and I had this actually done on a house a long, long time ago from major corporation because it was just a screwed up situation entirely. But like the French drain tile system or like the interior drain system.
Yeah.
So that's when you guys go into the crawl space or the basement, and you guys kind of cut out along the cove cut or the wall, and you put some stuff. Correct.
Cool. You had it done. Right on.
So walk us through. I mean, we got a couple of pictures of this. So at this point, right, we've remedied everything else, but there's still water somehow
sneaking in, right? So a couple things about that. When we're putting an interior, my company, everybody, putting an interior drain system in, it's because the exterior drain system has failed. You may not have a sump pump in your home because when they built your home, they just ran the drain tile around the outside of your house to the sewer. Well, now that there's 10 million more people, they don't want that water in the sewer. They cut it off at the street, and it becomes your responsibility to install a sump pump or your house floods. That's how it goes. So hydrostatic water pressure pushing up because the water's not being evacuated. So those old terracotta tiles,
Yep.
I mean, how much does it take for those to slip apart after 40 or 60 years? It's happening. Or a tree root to grow in it so it's no longer functioning. That all happens. So that's when you get interior drain tile. And you should expect something along those lines someday when you walk into a house that doesn't have a sump pump.
So that's an alternative. When you guys are cutting these interior drain systems in, are you also digging a sump pit?
Yeah. So when we cut in the drain system, we're replacing the drain tile that's outside. It's below the footing of your house because we want to get the water before it rises above the footing.
Remember, water undefeated, just like gravity.
It's gonna come, man, and it all rolls downhill. That's about it.
I mean, it goes wherever it wants to go.
It does. And so we say and we tell you that we're going to manage the water to a sump pump pit and then pump it outside of your home 15 feet away so it doesn't come back.
I think it's like water doesn't behave erratically.
No, you can.
There's a very specific
plan. Got to outsmart the water.
Exactly. So let's trick the water down here, put it into this drain system, and then hit the sump pump and shoot it out as far as possible away from the house, and we don't start the feedback loop.
Right on. And so sounds pretty basic. Sounds like you could probably do it on a Saturday, but there's some tricks to the trade.
There is no way, and I would say that I'm pretty handy. Flipped, 85, 90 houses in my life. I've worked on many of my own.
Right.
I've had your company out to one of my houses before just to do a sump pump because
been there.
Hey, I'm going to swap out this sump pump, right? Well, what if we maybe put the weep hole in and that way we don't have vapor lock or water lock and you have a sump pump that can't send the water out, right? Because you just don't, when you only do things once every 5 or 6 years, you don't know what else is going on, right?
Yeah.
We don't know. In my case, right? You guys came out, looked at hey, this sump pump, you got a lot of gravel in this sump pit, and you got a lot of other debris and stuff. We need to get one that's sits up a little bit higher so that we're not clogging up the pump.
Correct.
Just little things like that is why you don't do the hodgepodge work yourself.
Agree, and you hit it right on the head. I mean, believe me, everybody watching this podcast could probably fix a crack in their basement like the 5th time around. The first one you might screw up. The second one you might learn something from the first one. By the 3rd time you might be into it. But the first one crack you're not doing, most likely. And they'll sell you a kit at Menards. And believe me, I come scrape it off the wall and fix it on the daily. We sell a do-it-yourself kit. I mean, but if you don't do it, you're probably not going to get it the right way. And if you're going to finish your basement or something like that, for sure, you're going to want to have a pro do it. If you're selling your house, they expect a warranty. Otherwise, they're calling a company out like me. I'm running a hose on it to try to make it leak. I mean,
I assure you don't want the Tony Perri warranty. You probably want the area-wide waterproofing warranty.
Correct. And I see it all the time. And that makes up a point. I mean, Your handyman might be able to put something on the wall that blocks some water for 15 minutes or a year and a half, but not lifetime. And that's what people want. And they're just not even counting that.
And I know that every project's gonna have a different cost and different price tag.
Yeah.
But I would venture to guess that your price tag on sealing a few cracks with a warranty is very similar to handyman, what he charges without a proper warranty.
Absolutely. We are by no means the cheapest, but the least expensive. I mean, we use the right material. We apply it the right way. We're all trained. We all professional water companies use the same material. Like I mentioned before, I don't have a billboard to pay for. I don't beat up on the competition. If they charge more money, they have more expenses. That's right.
Economics, baby.
Right on. I mean, we do it differently. So we pass that savings along to our consumer because we don't have a bill. We do it differently.
And I think like one of the awesome parts about you guys have some great educational videos, like stuff of what you're actually doing. You know, it's like that we go to the restaurant with the glass on the kitchen. You can see how the food's being prepared.
Yeah.
It's not this cryptic, oh, we're going to have the crew in the house, we need you guys out of here type thing. It's a, hey, you want to come like watch us do this and see where the actual root of the problem is that we talked about? Come on down to the basement with me.
Yeah, right on. I'm all about the education. I mean, I am guilty of saying, hey, you can fix it yourself. Let me show you how to. And people are like, hey, no, I don't want to fix it myself.
Yeah, I want to just do the do it right price. I don't want to do it twice price.
Right. And that's totally fair. And I'm guilty of that because I'm a handyman kind of guy.
And
so I'm a little guilty.
You know, one of the things that you guys have that we always laugh, you know, the send us your crack app, and you are the crack guy. So let's be very clear that it is okay to have crack guy in the contacts on your phone.
Absolutely. If I call you, it says Larry the Crack Guy, you know, and you can go download our crack app. And if you're a real estate agent, that's super valuable because you can send me a picture and get a bid online. You could be with a buyer walking through a house that has a repaired crack and a couple that's never been repaired, and send me a picture and I can give you a bid on that so you can put their mind at ease. Well, they're right next to you. So you can write that contract. And you can go right to our website and shortcut yourself over to download our app on your iPhone or your Google phone. You know.
So website, www.areawidewaterproofing.com.
Correct. Absolutely.
Best number to reach you guys?
Area code 708-274-7467. And you can text a photo to that line as well and catch a bid from us online. And we give those, we have to send out a technician because something that's crazy. We absolutely will. But if we can give you a bid online because a crack is a crack is a crack, we're just sending someone else to fix it.
It's 5 o'clock free crack giveaway. Got the crack sandwich.
All of it.
And that's, you know, you guys have developed that product, you know, the send us your crack, which you can download the app from your website, areawidewaterproofing.com.
Absolutely.
Because you have, again, years and years and years of experience. But in those years, it's hundreds of homes. So, hey, we've seen this 1,000 times.
Right.
I'm 95% confident that this is how we can fix it. And this is what the cost is going to be. And if we need to get a technician out there, we get a technician out there.
Every day.
And it's lifetime warranty.
Right on.
You guys have maintenance contracts for the wall, you know, the wall braces. You don't got to go to the orthodontist for those.
Correct. And
is there anything else we didn't cover about your company, what the products and services you guys offer?
No, there's nothing that we really didn't cover. I could talk all day about it. I'm really proud of
You're
what
passionate
we
about
built.
crack.
Guilty as they come. And so, I mean, we're proud of what we do. And that's probably what separates us. It's more than a paycheck to everybody in my company, what we do every day. So I'd say that's the biggest difference between me and our competition. You know, sure, money maybe, but to me, it's pride in the quality work we do.
I love that. You guys are local. You're accessible. What's the lead time if we need to get someone out to maybe look at a Boeing wall? What do you guys?
Yeah, we're only a few days. If it's a real estate transaction, we're 48 hours guaranteed to come out and see what's up and give a report so your transaction can happen, because we know there's a 1 week review period.
Do you hear that, real estate agents?
Right on.
48 hours. We're not waiting for large company 1 or large company 2 to send out their crew 7 days later to write up a 19-page report and charge you $92,000 for something that.
Right, exactly. So we're aware of that. And our typical repair lead time is about a week. I mean, if you called us today, we'd have somebody out in the next few days to see what's up, and then a technician out to make the repair, depending on the repair, in a timely fashion within a week. I'll give you an example. I'm going in Tinley Park. A garage is falling off a house. So we're going to jack that garage back up by pushing a piece of steel down to the bedrock and push that garage back up. That's a repair that's 3 weeks out because we've got 2 weeks worth of those to do in front of that one. I can't just send out a guy. I'm sending out a backhoe, a dump trailer, 7 dudes, so.
And I think the last piece here, as we get into the freeze season, right? It's critical if you have these issues and you're maybe planning on, or you have some concerns about potential foundation, basement wall issues, and you want to sell your house during the winter, they probably need to get in touch with you guys right now because there's some stuff that maybe can't be dug out once the ground's frozen.
Yeah, I mean, that
or so it becomes a pain in the butt.
It becomes a pain. I mean, here in Illinois and Indiana, the earth, when it's freezing as cold as it could be, is about 6 inches down, And so we can bust through that typically, but most of our repairs in the wintertime, we're trying to do them from the inside. As a matter of fact, on those bigger inside jobs, I'll give you a discount if you hold off until the winter because we're digging stuff up outside, So.
And prep work, we got leaves falling off trees. Larry told us from the beginning, the number one cause of this is poor drainage, gutters, right?
Number one problem.
Get someone out there, get your kid out there, climb up the roof, get a shot, do whatever you got to do, get the leaves out of your gutters.
We have a referral for you on our website. I would definitely recommend at least a yearly maintenance program on your gutters if you have trees in your yard. Otherwise, probably not the case. But if you have a lot of trees in your yard, for sure. And I mean, there was a time in the 80s and 90s when they wanted to plant for some reason a tree on the corner of every house, like 4 foot away from the house. Well, that tree today is growing into your drain system. Count on the roots are in there. The leaves are in your gutters. Gutter guards are a great idea if you have that situation, but do something. It all starts there.
All right. Anything else you want to chime in on, add to the show?
No. Hey, I appreciate being out here, and I do follow your show. It's pretty funny, and I like it. I appreciate you asking me.
I think we need to have you back on. I think it'd be interesting to actually have you on with a real estate agent at some point too. And that way we can maybe talk through, and I don't know, maybe we'll pull one of the attorneys on. We could talk about the entire attorney review process and the contract and, the expectations, and we can role play. Maybe we'll find some pictures and in a real job and we'll blank out all the important information, but we'll talk about all of that stuff. But I think the most important part about why we love you guys and your service, your local family, but you stand behind everything and you provide education. And that's everyone that we've had on the show does educational stuff. And it's not to say that our jobs are replaceable. We just want you to see the transparent side of things. And that's why we love you guys.
That's where success comes from.
And you've known me for 36 years and
a few months.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Well, actually, maybe you almost know me for 37 since you knew probably about me, 3 months, 4 months before I came out too into the world. But
absolutely did. And we're all products of our fathers. You got a good one. You got a good mother.
Oh, what? We're probably running a little long on this, but I do have to ask you a very important question.
Wow. Okay.
So you may or may not have worked for my grandpa Ev at some point. We got to hear about what it's like to work with him.
Wow. Awesome. That could be a whole other story. I'll tell you what. First time I ever went and seen Zig Ziglar with your grandpa selling steaks. That's why I'm in sales. I could cry a little. That's why I'm in sales.
I was thinking about it.
Grandpa's awesome.
The other day I was talking to my wife about some stuff and kind of going through some things, and I have 2 boys now, and trying to get them to understand, when my dad worked for my grandpa. Now this is my mom's dad, and my dad wouldn't come home until he had sold 20 boxes of meat, seafood, whatever that you guys were selling. And I knew that, my grandpa, when he was running the company, he was out on sales again, wouldn't come home until he made all of those sales. And like, I know you've obviously worked there for a little bit too. And like, that's like, you want to talk about the roots to kind of go back in some of these relationships and why we trust some of the people that we have on the show. It's because it goes back to that level of, you know, my grandpa.
Listen, man, you don't even know. I could probably name 10 people in our golf league that worked for your grandpa also that now have successful businesses. I'm telling you what, your grandpa leader in success. And it comes from what you just said, work ethic missing today.
Yeah, well, we could do a whole show on that too.
Oh my God.
All right, so Larry, they get you guys at
708-274-7467.
areawidewaterproofing.com. Get the Crack app, text your pictures to it, get in line. Looks like we have probably 60-degree weather here, 70-degree weather into early November. As Larry said, once ground starts to freeze, there might be some problems. Again, if you are a real estate agent and you have a transaction, these guys will turn stuff in 48 hours for you. I've seen it. Our underwriters love them. Our underwriting manager loves them. They do great things. They keep deals together when they need to be together. And Larry will also tell you guys, and his team will also tell you, if a deal needs to fall apart, they're going to tell you honestly. It's not a guess. It's not a BS. It's not a sales thing. They're estimators. They're not salespeople.
Right on, Tony.
Hit them all?
You hit it all, bro.
Dude, I appreciate you being on.
I
love it.
Man. Thanks.
Let's do it again.
Right on. That was awesome.